I was on the verge of giving up. The wedding in Naples was in 4 weeks, and I still had no dress. Finding something decent in size 34 in Germany felt like mission impossible. In a land of giants, my 160 centimeter, 49 kilo body was completely lost. My ex husband's cousin was getting married in August. And in southern Italy, that meant one thing: heat. My wardrobe of fancy dresses was rather limited at the age of 25, and the only party outfits I had were suited for a Polish or German spring, not an Italian summer. I was completely fed up. I hate shopping for clothes. After weeks of trial and error, I came up with the idea of trying France. Strasbourg was just about an hour's drive from my in laws, where we went at least once a month for a weekend. Given the size of French women I had seen so far, it seemed like a good idea, especially since I had never been to that part of the world. A day trip across the border was easy, and the prospect of finding a dress that didn't need altering and possibly trying something new to eat was very appealing to a young rookie foodie. With my limited experience of Asian food from a few years earlier in Canada, and my then Italian mother in law, a master in the kitchen, I was just at the beginning of my food journey and eager to explore new territories. Despite the fact that French cuisine was world famous for its sophistication, I had never felt particularly drawn to it. It simply hadn't crossed my culinary path yet. I had read about snails and frog legs and always wondered what they tasted like. It was a fresh and sunny summer morning when we left Freiburg towards the German French border, and I was quite excited to see at least a little bit of France. I was looking forward far more to the famous tarte flambée, in German Flammkuchen, the snails, and the Alsatian wines than to the cloth shops. There was certainly more choice in my size than on the other side of the border, but still nothing that really caught my eye. My attention span for dresses is more or less that of a 2-year-old with ADHD. So we quickly found ourselves in a cozy cafe by the Ill, drinking café au lait and eating a croissant that was melting in my mouth. How can it get more French than that? I was enjoying every minute of it, trying not to think about the failed dress machine. There was no way I was going back to the shops. And in that moment, I really didn't care what I would wear to my first Italian wedding. It was late Saturday morning, and I almost felt like I was in a Julia Child episode in Paris. Nicely dressed people, some with little dogs, enjoying their morning treats in the sun. I loved the vibe, and I didn't want to move. But my German husband, now ex husband, was very task oriented. We were there for a reason, not just for fun. Really? There were two big clothing stores left, and I reluctantly agreed to have a quick look. As I browsed through different styles of dresses, my mind kept drifting elsewhere to food. I was already wondering whether we would find a place with a really good Flammkuchen. A paper thin, yeast free dough topped with creme fraiche, sliced onions, and smoked bacon, often referred to as a kind of German pizza. And even more importantly, the snails. I was so curious to try. I knew that Poland was a major exporter of the edible land snails, mostly to the French market. Yet somehow, those slimy creatures were not popular back home. Not at all, actually. I heard they tasted like delicate meat with a texture similar to pickled mushrooms. The idea of eating something that crawled through our garden after the rain wasn't particularly appealing, but curiosity won. After 20 minutes of dress hunting, I was ready to officially call the mission off and enjoy the rest of the day. There was no way I was stepping into another shop. It was time for lunch and finally something I actually cared about. We wandered through the old town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, admiring the medieval half timbered houses. There were plenty of restaurants, but in 1998, before Google reviews or TripAdvisor, you had to rely on your instinct. The number of guests, the atmosphere, sometimes just the smell drifting into the street. Many looked good, but one caught my attention, mainly because of its charming, slightly overgrown outdoor seating area. And they had both things I wanted. We ordered a glass of Pinot Gris, recommended by the waiter, a tarte flambée, and of course, snails with garlic butter. I was sipping the wine, one that I hadn't tried before, enjoying the light breeze and the quiet excitement of discovering a new place, when a plate with a dozen tiny shells appeared in front of me. They were much smaller than I expected. I picked one up, slightly hesitant, but curious. The first bite was surprisingly pleasant, delicate, buttery, very garlicky, something. Hard to compare to anything. By the third or fourth, I realized they really did resemble pickled mushrooms, just as I had been told. Nice, but not quite wow. Well, at least I had tried them. Fortunately, the Flammkuchen more than made up for it. Paper thin, crispy, slightly smoky, with a richness that somehow still felt light. Perfect for a warm day. The dress I might have bought that day would be long gone by now, but that first meal in France, that stayed.